Hello, everybody. Let me pull you guys up on my phone. So, guys, I was kind of watching over this, and it's like really reminding me of some things that I've heard about East Tennessee area, particularly Hawkins County. So, and I looked this up on the map, and where this incident happened is 90 miles about from 110 Ben Hill Road. Even closer, I think, if you go from Kingsport. But I know some people wouldn't think that this could be connected, but after we look into some things, you might think, oh, well, this involves adults. Like, well, we've talked about that. I mean, should we go back? I mean, we've talked about stuff like that happening, bribes and stuff. I mean, that happens everywhere. It does happen everywhere, so it's not like, but it's not like it's just like East Tennessee or this county. Hey, Raleigh. Me of 6, Jessica. Oops, why isn't Lonely? Oh, it's because everybody was removed as moderator when they took over my channel. Okay. Hey, Judy. I started watching this and I was like, you know what? I want to watch this with you guys. 90 miles away from Hawkins County, and listening to it just yeah. We're going to talk about some things here. Let's go ahead and just start watching.
Right in the judge's chambers. I'm investigating what happened, and there is a lot more to the story. Allegations of a secret sex ring. I'm looking into all of it for this.
It's Brian Eaton's channel. I've tagged it in, or Eaton's channel, I'm sorry. I tagged his channel in the description, but I'll put it in the chat here in a second. But we're going to watch this, and I think also it was something on News Nation, possibly. And there's an article some articles I want to show you, and yeah.
Edition of Brian Enton Investigates. Hey guys, so I've got two really, really interesting interviews coming up from Kentucky. First of all, a woman who I spoke to who said that she had sex with the judge countless times.
Huh.
You sound echoey to me. I don't know if it's like...
Am I echoey for you guys? Probably maybe because this... Is the volume good for you guys?
The computer's playing good, but you was real echoey to me.
You remember Dawn took off also to Kentucky and something about back roads to get to Kentucky where they were all county? Yeah, and there's a lot of people in Hawkins area do... I mean, there's a lot of connections to this part of Kentucky. A lot of those people, like... So, can you guys hear me okay? Is it still echoey? I think maybe because the speaker was over here near the... We're going to retry this. All right, here we go.
The judge who was murdered, she said she had sex with him countless times to get out of crimes, and she says that is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the corruption. Also, a jailer, a different woman who worked in the jail as a guard, who says that there were sex parties going on in and around the jail, and she goes into detail. So you're going to hear from both of those women in a second. First, let me give you guys some of the backstory here, catch you up if you haven't been following this case. Former Letcher County Sheriff Sean Mickey Steins has been jailed since the killing last September of the judge. It was caught on surveillance camera. This is in Whitesburg.
Look at that, dude. Look at that. Look at this. Moments before this judge's life was ended. And the sheriff, I think that he got really,
You're choppy, like
where's it choppy at? Like,
you're echoey, like it's like your volume's way up or something, echoing in every time.
mm,
You can hear the video good, but it's hard to.
Let's try this microphone for a little bit. And see how that works.
That's a lot better.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm using on StreamYard and
You're good, man.
okay. I'm super loud. Okay. We'll try it like that. All right. So this is moments before this. I guess the sheriff's daughter or relative was involved with this judge in some way, and yeah, I guess this sheriff took one for the whole county. I guess I don't know what all this. Wow, this is a crazy situation. Hey, Chris.
Kentucky. That's where I was. And again, just think about this. This is a
If there's a camera here, what other kinds of things did they catch on camera?
sheriff, the county sheriff killing the judge. So this is extremely unusual. And from the moment this happened, I knew there had to be more to the story here. Steins is accused of fatally shooting Letcher County District Judge Kevin Mullins in the judge's chamber. And Mullins died at the scene. And Steins, again, who was the sheriff at the time, surrendered without incident. The surveillance video shows a man who looks just like Steins pulling out a gun, shooting Mullins as he sat at his desk, and the man walked around the desk, then pointed at the gun at the judge, and then fired again. Authorities haven't yet released a motive for the shooting, but this is where things get really interesting here when you start to peel back the layers. The judge, according to lawsuits that we've looked into and people that we've talked to, could have been involved in a sex for favors plot. The judge was connected to a sex for favors scheme when women on house arrest exchanged sexual acts for special treatment. And this is according to a lawsuit. Now, since the murder of Judge Mullins, everyone has speculated as to Sheriff Stein's motive for killing Mullins. The reason behind the shooting, according to some locals, could be that Judge Mullins, again, was involved in this sex for favors scandal, demanded that Stein keep his mouth shut about it when a lawsuit was filed by one of the victims. And at this point, at least two women that we know of have filed lawsuits who say that they were forced to have sex or they were told that they would have to go back to jail. And so that takes us back to where we are now, these women coming forward, including a woman who I interviewed named Taya Adams, who sat down with me. I went to her home in Kentucky, and she said that she had sex with the judge to get out of trouble. She acknowledges that the corruption is widespread. She also acknowledges that she's been in and out of trouble for addiction. And has been in and out of jail, but said that actually made her the perfect victim and says she is telling the truth about what happened. Listen to this. So what was your first interaction with the judge?
I knew him before because my sister worked for the Commonwealth Attorney for a really long time. Like I grew up in his office and stuff. So whenever he got elected to be Commonwealth Attorney, and we moved over into City Hall, and then Kevin was the assistant Commonwealth Attorney, and his office was like across the road from it. And I was kind of like informal intern in there, like learning office management and stuff. And I went over to his office to learn how to take a deposition. And that was the first interaction that I had with him as far as the sex and stuff goes.
What happened?
I gave him oral with my shirt pulled down. And whenever we were done, he threw money in my face, told me to clean myself up, and reminded me that I knew better than to tell my sister.
Wow. Could this judge be related to Tim Mullins? I think that Tim Mullins, his name is different. Ends in ENS. Actually, Tim Mullen, his name is, hold on. Yeah, their last name is just Mullen. So Mullen, Tim Mullen, actually. And yeah, so it's spelled differently. But I've heard of rumblings. I don't know if I'm going to say like specific names and stuff because I'm not trying to get law enforcement, like be on law enforcement's bad side in Hawkins County. But because I mean, it's more important to find, I don't know. My priority is Summer Wells, but, and this is supposedly willing adults, but these women are in vulnerable situations, and then these judge and officers are taking advantage of their position of power and doing things in exchange. And well, I've spent a lot of time in Hawkins County and in that area, and obviously being with Fred now, I've heard a lot of stuff that happens like in that area. And because it's generational, how long, like it sounds like the good old boy system out there in that area too. It's only 90 miles away from Hawkins County, but these people, like for generations, it just continues. And like for instance, right now, the next person going to be sheriff is Tony Allen in Hawkins County. Like it's pretty much was a given that he was going to be the next sheriff. Like it's pretty much always already decided. And then nobody really goes against it because everybody, all of them are all connected.
And what was his job at that time?
Assistant Commonwealth Attorney. And we would do sex parties and perform shows and have sex with them for money, things like that.
Where were the parties?
Various places. There are different cabins. There's an apartment down like toward Thornton that they would use. It's got like mirrored ceilings and a bidet and a sink.
Towards Norton, is that what she said? Towards Norton? That's like, whoa. I think that's further like west in Kentucky.
Swing and all the things.
Yeah. Did you feel like you could say no?
No, and they would make sure to make you feel as small and degraded and belittled as possible to take your power away,
What sort of things would they do?
But also, like, I have to say, like, we were having fun too, like we were doing drugs, we was doing coke, doing a lot of cocaine, partying, like it wasn't like they were just like, they weren't raping like physically, like, what people think about when they hear the word rape. It was consensual. But it was the thing that we were so young, and then they used it against us and to destroy our lives later.
How so?
With the legal system. And CPS. Systematically removing your whole life, piece by piece.
Did they ever tell you that you couldn't say anything?
Yeah. I mean, that was just a given.
Has this
and
judge
believe it anyway because
has this sheriff been sentenced yet? Yeah, I guess it hasn't been because he was haven't looked too much into, like, I'm just wondering how much time the sheriff is actually going to get once. Are they going to allow this type of stuff in the? Probably not. They're probably not going to allow all this backstory. Well, yeah, it actually would, because they're going to want a motive, right? So all this stuff is probably going to come out in the trial. I'm guessing he would take it to trial. If I was him, I would definitely take it to trial. Because I think that if there is something like this going on, and if the sheriff, like, killed to basically defending, or, you know, his, I think it was his own, like, child or a relative or something, you know, I think that he's going to get probably a lot of sympathy from juries or jurors. Yeah, she could have said no, but the thing is, yeah, she could have said no, but the thing is like, there's people in power, these judges and sheriffs and officers, they're in positions of power, so that's what makes it a higher crime. Like, if they get in trouble, it's a higher crime than if it were somebody like, you know, anybody else. Like, it's a higher crime because of the position they're in, and there becomes that power dynamic, and then they start using it, like she says, to their advantage. And these people, it's against the law too. How can we have people in power positions like sheriff and judge putting away people doing the same things that they're secretly doing? Like, it's so wrong. It's very wrong. I watched the move to dismiss the case last week. It was a no. What was really strange to me was that the judge was married to a lady of some 20 plus years younger than him and very pretty. And I haven't heard all this, so I don't know. I'm assuming that the judge or the people partying there, she's talking about, like, partying like it wasn't just him there. You know, it would be other officers or other people. And I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't assume, because I haven't heard all this, but, like, she's talking about drug use too. I'm assuming they were using drugs too. I'm guessing.
The whole town was doing it. You know, nobody cares. They're all swingers. It's all a big party to them. It was just like so normal.
Did you ever have sex with him after he became judge?
Yeah. Yeah.
When he was the judge?
Yes. I've had sex with him in the chambers. I've had sex with him upstairs.
You had sex in the chambers?
Yes.
How did that?
It was not the room that's on film. That's on that, where that camera is, where the murder and stuff happened. That's not the room that was always the chambers. I don't know. Like, I think it might be behind that where it was. But there was like a different desk and everything in there. That's not the same room.
And how did that happen?
What?
The sex in the chambers. I mean,
we would just sometimes we would just go over there and hang out, and he'd be like, just hang out. Let me go sit on the bench for a while. I'll be in a minute. You know, and everybody would come back there and smoke and stuff after. The girls who they would bring them up from the jail for the house arrest people and stuff, they would have sex all over the place with them too.
From the jail?
Yeah.
Were you ever there when that happened?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I took out of my title, like, any connections. I think I took that part out, like, because then what, you know, Summer Wells it's a different, I mean, connected to Summer Wells exactly. Probably not exactly, because this is supposedly it's the same. We've heard the same type stuff, like rumblings of this stuff happening in Hawkins County. You know, of course, with the sheriff's son who got that, you know, sex crime charge, and that was all hush hush and kept so quiet. You know, that made how they kept that so quiet made people even more suspicious, and it makes them, you know. And then I've heard stories. I know of certain things I don't even know if I want to talk about on here, because I'm like, I'm really not trying to piss off law enforcement, but there's definitely things about a certain officer that's not just one, there's more than one, but it's in that area in Hawkins County that is, it's pretty much known in the area that he's being paid off, or also, sex favors.
You saw it?
Yeah. I knew the girls personally. Yeah, they were my friends and family. They were the people that we lived with on the streets.
Hey,
So
The other
Diana.
ones that they've done the same thing to, and taken their kids and slammed them and put them with all these big crazy charges.
So, I mean, you're saying it like it's so normal, but I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So the judge would have sex with inmates from the jail,
Yes.
and you saw it.
Yes. I was part of it. I was one of them. Not just from being in jail, like coming in off the street and seeing them. Yeah.
How did they keep it a secret?
It wasn't a secret. Wasn't a secret.
Just like basically, out there in Hawkins, a lot of the stuff that they're doing is like really not a secret. Dawn and Tim too, they've done a lot of things right out. They put out pictures of them when they were younger, like basically it seems like playing games like right in front of our faces, it just becomes normal. It's so ingrained in the area after generations and generations. Like, I don't know.
Why did you feel like you had to have sex with the judge?
Because he's the one with the power. He holds my entire life in his hands. He's the one that makes the decisions over whether I get to keep my children or not. He's the one that makes the decisions on whether I go to jail or whether I get they would drug test me all the time, and I would pass it, and social services would come in and say like, no, she failed it, and I would have to make them lab it every time because I wasn't failing it. That was the one good thing that Kevin did for me when my twins, we fought for them for months, finally got them back in the home. Social services was so harassing and so bad that he called her out in court. He said, that's enough. He said, you have taken this too far, and I'm reporting you to Frankfurt. And he called the ombudsman, contacted me and to supposedly open an investigation against the child services here. And I never heard nothing about it.
Did the judge ever say, you have to do this, or if you do this,
you come see me 3 times and we'll take care of this. If it's a ticket or something, or you get some minor charge, some petty charge, come visit me a few times. We'll take care of it.
he would say that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
And how many women do you think were also doing this?
Total over the years, hundreds. Yeah. And not just for the women who had charges. Like if your man or somebody, your child is in there, then you could go see him for that too.
And everybody knew this was going on?
Yes. Yes.
So what did you think when the sheriff killed the judge? When you found out?
My heart just exploded in relief. I thought finally somebody is going to see this, because now they can't look away. They have to look. They have to see what's happening here. And then it's been all this time and still not seeing anything happening, Nobody's saying anything. People have been making videos and coming out with their story for a long time, but they're being retaliated against to the point that they're leaving this. They've had to pack up and leave homes that they own here and leave the state and go rent somewhere else because they've ran them out of town.
Do you feel nervous talking about this? Have you been retaliated against?
I'm a little bit nervous, but I also know that God's got this, and that our kids, I don't want our kids to have to grow up in this town like it has been for us. Because once they get their hooks in you, they never.
Yeah, so that is it. That's since she's still living in that area. That would be kind of scary, but keeping yourself out there, that's kind of what I thought of with Fred, is like keeping yourself out there. Because I know people think I'm crazy, but gosh, think how many people have passed away surrounding the Summer Wells case.
you go. You don't get to live. You don't get to choose your life. You don't choose your own path. They do that for you.
Has anyone tried to intimidate you into not talking?
Like comments on Facebook, and yes, a lot of victim blaming, shaming, stuff like that, petty stuff. But then also we had the message from the jailer's sister that said that they started it, she's going to finish it. And she's on Facebook like slandering Liz, saying she went through like hours of footage to catch a freeze frame of her eye like glitching like in the middle of a blink or something, and put it on there on Facebook. Look, she's high. We need to call CPS to come take her kids. And that's how it happens. They'll call CPS on you, and then they will take your children unfounded for nothing, for no reason. Or like in my case, the court ordered me to take Suboxone, and then showed up at the hospital when I gave birth to take my child because she had Suboxone in her system. She had Subutex in her system. They said my prescription wasn't valid. It was. My clinic had closed like a couple weeks before I went into labor, but I still had a whole month's prescription for that month with pills left over that I hadn't even taken yet. And that was their grounds for taking her.
How many times would you say you had sex with the judge in the courthouse?
Countless.
Countless.
Or sexual relations of some sort. Yeah.
I mean, if you had to put a number on it.
I don't know. Have you seen my record? It's a long one.
And he's
been part of every charge I've ever had.
And when you would get a charge, what would he say?
He'd laugh at me, tell me come see him. We'll get it figured out or whatever. But he never did. He ended up just like slamming me. They slammed me with all them other crazy charges there at the end. Like once they were done with me, I think that they got scared. And something about it is they don't like for us to get sober. When we get sober, we start to heal and we start to speak on who hurt us. And they don't like that. So they'll send people out to relapse you and pull you back into their nonsense.
Do you know why the sheriff killed the judge?
I don't, but I have my own suspicions and beliefs.
What do you think?
I think that he's seen that nothing was ever going to stop. Nothing was ever going to change unless something big happened. I don't know what it was that triggered him to actually do that. Like, I don't know. I couldn't say. But knowing everything, and then if you notice,
I don't know why.
they put that charge.
You would think that the sheriff could have done something besides kill the judge, though. I mean, hey, Minnie Pearl. We had an attorney general here who was sleeping with a coworker. They would have sex in his office. Sometimes at her home. He's in jail now for trying to kill her. Yeah, was it the judge's daughter? I think it was I don't know. I think it was the sheriff. Or judge killed. Yeah, it had to do with his daughter. That's horrible. The sheriff's daughter. He called his daughter from the chamber. Firing on Mullins as he sits at his desk with his left hand up. Mullins collapses to the floor. Steins is seen leaning over the desk to fire again. As Steins prepares to leave, the video shows him closing in from another angle, firing his final shots from about 2 feet away. Says there was no audio. Steins, wearing handcuffs and a blue tunic, stared down at the defense table while his daughter, who sat behind him, looked up at one of the walls. Steins resigned as sheriff and has pleaded not guilty to murder. So, yeah. He was married and the wife would harass the woman. It was bad. I'm glad he's in jail. Wait, what? He was married? We had attorney. Oh. Oh, are you talking about your attorney general? The first lady to be a whistleblower was finding the bailiff abusing his authority. She filed a lawsuit and later passed away. This is caused a grand jury indictment fell onto sheriff because he did not work for the judge.
On being Fields, right? Like he's the only one or something. And Mickey ended up getting named in a lawsuit for not doing anything about it or not properly training them. So I wonder, like, if he was like this is so far out of my hands. What am I supposed to do? It's like all these people here that have evidence, like physical evidence of all these horrible things that they've done to them, are just hiding it because there's nobody to give it to. Like what, you know?
What do you think of? I mean, what do you make of the sheriff? What is his sort of reputation?
He's got a good reputation. He was well respected. He was always good to me, fair, firm. You know, he'd take you to jail and stuff, but he wasn't like a groper and raper and stuff like the other ones.
Wow.
He was always good to me.
Did he know about everything going on?
Yeah, I think it bothered him. Like, I really do. Because I asked for house arrest. I kept asking over and over. I kept saying, Mickey, please let me go on house arrest. Like, this is crazy. And you know these charges on me are crazy. So every time I'd get him in the elevator, take him to court, I'd beg him. He'd say, well, we'll see. And then he never would put me on the list. And it makes me wonder why now.
Did anything ever happen to you in the jail?
Yeah.
I mean, because you talk about having sex with the judge, but that was mostly when you were out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to avoid.
Yeah.
But what about when you were in jail?
Yeah, the jail workers and stuff, a lot of them, they would come up to the doors, stuff, they want to see your titties. They want you to come up so they can put their hands in the beanhole and touch you, things like that. There was like this old stairwell in the middle of the jail across from the med room. Like they would take girls in there and stuff sometimes.
How do all these officials get away with this?
They run it all. Their rehab programs and stuff, they're all in it together. They all got their hands in it. The drug court, they just keep extending your sentence. How is that? Do you know what happened with my case? We had the fight. They charged us with unlawful imprisonment in a holding cell beside the booking desk. They charged us with unlawful imprisonment, which is kidnapping. That's the charge that stuck. And they told me I had 7.5 years total. I get to prison and get my time sheet. I had 12.5 years. So I went and sent legal aid. They said, once the final judgment is filed, there's nothing else that you can do. It's final. So I did my time. I made parole upon completion. I did all the programs and stuff that I was eligible to do. And when I got out, they tried to make me to go to drug court. They tried to add drug court onto my sentence. And I threw a fit. I said, no, this is not right. And this was not part of the plea deal. And y'all already screwed me and gave me 5 extra years anyway. We're not doing this. My parole officer went back in his office, and he came back out and said, well, they agreed that if you would do aftercare for 6 months, that you don't have to go to drug court. So I did their aftercare. I did their MRT classes, anger management.
Of course, this is her. I'm going to fast forward to this other lady and see what she has to say. But that is true. I guess I didn't think about that. If the sheriff knew and he didn't say anything or do anything about it until, his daughter got wrapped up in the middle of it, that is a good point too. Like, people need to yeah, that's a good point. Should he get any type of leniency? Just because, even though how long did he know about the stuff going on? That is a good point, because sometimes you have to stand up against everybody. Doing the right thing is not always easy sometimes. And I don't know. That something needs to happen out there in Hawkins County, in my opinion, too. I feel like there's a lot of this type of stuff going on out there.
I also spoke with a woman who says that she worked in the jail. So she had a very interesting perspective. This is an interview that aired first on News Nation. Look at this. So you worked in the jail?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How long did you work there?
About 3.5 months.
Okay.
Yes.
And what was your job?
Deputy jailer.
And
I was one of the guards.
one of the guards, so in with all the
Taking
inmates.
care of the inmates and stuff like that, helping give out trays, meds, watches. There's a lot of times I was in the booth, just different things.
When did you realize that something strange was going on at the jail?
When Ben Fields came in and became an automatic trustee, that was what had made my eyes go, oh, wow, okay, so our systems aren't how they're supposed to be, not even in our guidelines. It confused me because
Ben Fields, who's that?
you know, most times in jail, when somebody comes into jail, you're there for a while, and then there's the process of if you want to become a trustee, which is one of the inmates where they get to do special
I
jobs.
wonder if that's what happened to Ronnie Lawson's son, because remember I heard he was a trustee too. Did they follow protocol for him, or was he an automatic trustee like this woman's talking about? She said Ben Fields, whoever that is. So maybe that's somebody's relative or something. Yeah, I think so too. Jury South or something. Jeez.
Helping prepare the food or going out on work release, you have to apply for that. You have to ask for it. You have to show that you have the initiative to want to do it. And Ben Fields, from first day stepping into our jail, was a automatic trustee. Special treatment.
Who is he?
It was awful. We have 2 solitaries that is beside the ice box where they keep all these supplies, feminine products, pops, stuff like that, which is supposed to be a one-man cell. At some points, there's 2 or 3 people in there, but there was 2 men that was in that cell that had gotten moved, so that way Ben Fields could be moved into that cell.
Ben Fields is the cop who went to jail for the abuse. Oh, so there's been an arrest. I didn't hear about what? Yeah. Found him in Vine. So 7 years prison. Let me start this out. 1 second. Maybe. Former Letcher County Sheriff's Deputy Ben Fields was sentenced to 7 years in prison, and that was January 4th, 2024. So that was before, was this before the judge was killed? Hold on, because
including rape and sodomy. WYFT's Chandler Wilcox gives us the latest on that case.
Former Letcher County Sheriff's Deputy Ben Fields was indicted on several charges, including third-degree rape, sodomy, tampering, and perjury. Fields faced Pike County Circuit Judge Eddie Coleman via Zoom, with victim Sabrina Atkins in attendance.
I recognize that Ms. Atkins is a victim of this case, but I'm also believing that the criminal justice system is a victim of this case when people behave this way.
Coleman sentenced Fields to 7 years in prison. Victim Sabrina Atkins expressed a lot of emotion.
Just come and you see the impact this has had on me and my family. So how much this is taking time for me and my son. Here's one thing you gave me back, was knowing I was a strong, independent woman.
Fields will also be listed as a registered sex offender as a result of his actions.
You're going to do outpatient sex offender treatment, and you're not to have contact with anyone with the named victim in this case. Notice it said on the agreement.
That was Chandler Wilcox reporting. Judge Eddie Coleman also says Ben Fields is to report to the Letcher County Jail by Friday at noon.
So it didn't even show us a picture. We saw her, but we didn't really see him. Well, this one's a different one. That's the sheriff. But real quick, we'll take a break in that video and go over to this article that I pulled up concerning this judge, because actually when Evil Enter told me about this, he started, I guess I haven't found that yet, that his part of being starting some kind of recovery center. But I'd like to talk to this woman right here and see her experience with this judge. This is December 26, 2018. The Letcher woman's recovery began with sentencing by Judge Mullins. This shows Judge Mullins held Kaylee Danny Lynn Rose recently in the Letcher District Courtroom in Whitesburg. Mullins sentenced Kaylee's mother, Allison Rose, left to Karen's place, where she began treatment for addiction while still pregnant. Sound of the gavel banging and the dramatic clang of cell doors aren't typically associated with hope. In this case, the judicial system saved Allison Rose's life. So it says June 28, 2018, Rose found herself facing charges for possession of drug paraphernalia and complicity to traffic methamphetamine in Letcher County. This was not her first drug-related charge. She had several other nonviolent crimes and convictions under her name, all related to her struggle with drugs. This arrest was different, though. Rose was approaching her 4th month of pregnancy. Her pregnancy was confirmed in jail, and her first ultrasound was performed while she was incarcerated. Luckily for Rose, Letcher District Judge Mullins was presiding over her case. No, Chris, I didn't. Hey, Kristen. I've known Allison all her life, says Judge Mullins. Listen to this, guys, okay? See, this is why I put this article in here, because it shows, like, these people, of course, like, a lot of times the judge is from that town or that area that they preside in, usually all their lives, and a lot of times their father or parents were in the judicial system or whatever. So this is how the generational stuff starts, and it just kind of continues. It says, I've known Allison all her life. I went to school with her older sister. I know their mother. She comes from a good family. She just, for whatever reason, ended up with this drug problem, says Mullins. I was sad for her, but I was also sad for her mother and for her kids. Eastern Kentucky is no stranger to the scourge of addiction. Communities across the region are burdened by the economic and social impact of the disease and the effects it has on families. Like many counties across the nation, Letcher County has seen a tremendous rise in drug-related crimes in recent years. According to Judge Mullins, the number of drug-related incarcerations has created a serious problem in the county jail, while occupancy has nearly tripled and drastically exceeded allotted bed space. Oh, is that because they're trying to make sure they have plenty of girls for all the judges and officers to choose from? That's why they tripled and drastically exceeded a lot of bed space. So the judge thinks he's doing everybody a favor and the county a favor by, allowing them sex bribes. Oh, we need the jail space anyways. Yeah, the judge is holding her baby. Yes. We can't keep doing the same things and expect something to change. It just hasn't worked, he said. Mullins is developing hero status among his constituents. Whoa, Mullins is developing hero status among his constituents. His gavel has represented opportunity for struggling addicts that come before him on the bench. I suppose some judges want to hear hard on drugs by locking everyone up who has committed a drug-related crime, he continued. I think there is a balance. If someone is a nonviolent offender but has a drug problem, it doesn't make sense to lock them up with no treatment. It's costly and ineffective. They'll come right back. There's no harm in showing these people some compassion. Mullins has created a network of resources for those facing him in the courtroom on drug-related charges. Tilly Everman, who works at Addiction Recovery Care, is in the courtroom on a weekly basis to assist addicted candidates to treatment. Everman and her coworker, Michael Clark, both graduates of the ARC program or treatment, applaud Judge Mullins for being integral in changing the culture of the penal system for addicts in Letcher County. He gets it, said Clark. He knows that these people are with mothers and fathers and kids who care about them. He knows that if they can clean up, there'll be taxpayers, employees, parents, and people who contribute. Like many close-knit communities, it's not uncommon for Mullins to have social familiarity with many of the people he encounters in the courtroom. However, his goal remains the same with all those battling addiction in his courtroom. We want them to get help, he said. We want to get the help to them. Mullins proudly keeps a copy of every certificate of completion from the men and women who he has sent to his recovery programs. To date, he has more than 100 certificates in his collection, and he remembers details about many of the individuals represented by each piece of paper. He estimates that the rate of reoffense for those in recovery to be roughly 17% based on his calculations from local inmate population versus the current statistic of 68 for those who have not sought help with recovery. It's really a win-win for us to get these people into treatment, he said. There's nothing wrong with trying to help people.
See, the criminal judge in Hawkins County is building all them rehabs and stuff, personally having them built, and then getting all them grant money and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what charge you have down there, whether it's theft or whether it's drug, they're still sending you to rehab.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I was trying to look for, because I heard from when Evil that this judge is connected or a founder or somehow connected to this ARC program. And so that's what I was researching when I found this article. I don't know if he was really a founder, but it looks like that was his main go-to in sentencing was this ARC or whatever. Mullins probably, it's really a win-win for us to get these people into treatment. He said there's nothing wrong with trying to help people. No, there's not, Judge Mullins, but Anyways, Rose was offered the opportunity to complete a residential treatment program for expectant and new mothers at Karen's Place, part of the ARC's extended network of residential facilities in Lawrence County. Karen's Place integrates clinical treatment with a faith-based recovery model. According to the website, Karen's Place is a commission and accreditation of rehabilitation facilities, accredited, state licensed. Alcohol and other drug entity, behavioral health services organization, residential program. Residents participate in 1 hour weekly counseling, 15 hours of recovery small groups, and group therapy sessions. Rose, who had once before attained sobriety, was struggling tremendously with guilt and shame for a relapse when she arrived at Karen's Place. The impact of her addiction was felt by many. Let's see what else we have down here. So yes, he is holding this woman's baby. I haven't looked what else. Since the recovery started by a judge's gavel. Allison Rose. So that's the same lady, I think, right there, isn't it? She was placed at Karen's Place. Yep, there she is. I'm trying to find the. I feel bad, but like she looks older, and I was trying to find her age because I'm like, maybe there's a chance. Maybe I can have a child. There she doesn't look as old, but in this one she looks older. So it's weird. I've known Allison all her life. I went to school with her older sister. I know her mother. She comes from a good family. She just, for whatever reason, ended up with this drug problem, says Mullins. I was sad for her, but I also sad for her mother and her kids. No, we're going to we need to talk to this woman. Here's another article about the same woman. Just behind her is the bench of Letcher County District Judge Kevin Mullins. Judge Mullins is a straight shooter. He grew up in Jenkins, just a few miles from his courtroom in the county seat of Whitesburg. Family members and loved ones are often lined up outside his office waiting for a word with Judge Mullins. It's also not unusual to see him speaking to inmates at the Letcher. It's also not unusual to see him speaking to inmates at their Letcher County Jail, which is located just below his courtroom in the basement of Letcher County Courthouse. The people coming into my court are seen as the casualties of an epidemic, he said. While they have broken the law, many have the desire to seek help, to seek recovery, and to rebuild their lives. Judge Mullins started offering inmates the opportunity to seek treatment in 2010. Since 2010, 197 individuals has taken Judge Mullins up on his offer to assist them in obtaining inpatient drug rehabilitation. Of that number, 155 have completed treatment, 24 left treatment facilities against medical advice, and 18 are currently working towards completion. Access to treatment has been a real benefit. In Judge Mullins' first 8 years, he recorded 90 competitions. In 2018, Addiction Recovery Care began to work closely with Judge Mullins to provide accelerated access to treatment through providing a community liaison to the district court. In just 8 months, 65 people have been placed in treatment facilities. We are combating this epidemic at all levels, and we have an all-hands-on-deck approach. Were they drug testing you, sir? Yeah. I'm not naive This is what it's all about, says Judge Mullins. I'm not naive enough to think that this will work for everyone, but I'm smart enough to know that if we do not react, this could be a catastrophic catastrophic to people, their families, and our communities. So he was appointed to the position in 2019 by Governor Steve Beshear. And then he was elected to the position the following year. So he graduated from University of Kentucky. Mullins was also an advocate for programs to divert people with substance use disorder toward treatment rather than detention. He championed a program in Letcher County that allowed people facing behavioral health issues to have their charges dropped in exchange for sexual favors. No, I'm just kidding. He championed a program in Letcher County that allowed people facing behavioral health issues to have their charges dropped in exchange for successful completion of a treatment program, the Mountain Eagle previously reported. The whole community grew together with Judge Mullins to make it more accessible for people to succeed in recovery. He realized the community had a problem. He got everybody together and said, let's fix the problem. Let's not try to hide it. Let's try to fix it. So they were receiving Fed money.
He got a brand new bed. He got a brand new flat screen TV, automatic trustee. He had his own pack of cigarettes in the break room, Marlboro red shorts. It just wasn't fair. You know what I mean? It just showed the system wasn't how it should be.
Did you ever see anyone having sex?
I never seen anybody having sex, but I had heard stories. One of the female guards specifically was telling me that one of the places she takes male inmates was the storage room, which used to be a stairwell in front of the medication room. It's literally directly across. You can't get in there without a key, and that's where they take them. A lot of times,
Male
they get up into the courthouse, especially after hours late at night. Nobody's at work. Nobody's up there, so it's all empty. It's all empty space.
Oh my gosh, in the courthouse that people. Wow. Well, I mean, wow. That's quite disrespectful to the judicial system, the county, the public. I mean,
How common was that?
More common than you would want to believe in the court system. Even down to some of my daily supervisors. There'd be girls sign themselves out and take them on home. It was sick.
The supervisors would take the inmates home for the night?
Yes. When there's policy, once an inmate leaves that jail space, you're not supposed to be in contact with them for 6 months. So it's one of those things. Oh, you're taking them, and then the girls go back and tell them the stories. Oh, I slept with this person when he took me home. You know.
Now, I do have a story like this. Not that I slept with the guard or anything, because we didn't, but I did one time. I do have a story very similar to that. Like, I remember hanging out with one of the guards who was one of the guards when I was in jail. I met him from jail, and yeah. I remember nothing happened, but definitely I think we were drinking together. I'm trying to remember what all happened, but yeah, that was definitely with it. There's actually was a couple of them I hung out with too. So it happens all the time. But that was outside afterwards. But of course, you get their number and stuff in there. So yeah, I'm sure like far worse happens. I mean, I heard stuff too from other people. Like I never saw anything like, and of course I was not in this jail or Hawkins County. So this stuff happens everywhere.
What did you think when you were working there?
That it was a brothel. It is all just it's all a brothel between all the employees sleeping with each other and sleeping with the inmates that come in. And a lot of them, they are repeat offenders. A lot of them are permanent stayers. It's nasty. It's sickening. I've even had one of my personal supervisors go way over the limits of even trying to get my family to force me to be in a relationship with them while I was previously in a already in a relationship. And it's like, sir, like, this is supposed to be you're a work friend. You know what I mean? It's not a good environment.
What would the inmates get in return for having sex with, the leadership?
For inmates, the smallest things, unless you're going with one of the overheads. If they're sleeping with the guard, it's mostly for things like cigarettes, time out of the cell, pops, commissary, things like that.
Wow. What did you think when the sheriff shot the judge?
A lot of the corruption was going to come out. I knew that was going to be the beginning to set everything aside to make people come in and people's voices finally be heard. Because even I believe that the sheriff, he either knew something or something was going on that he knew about that we all might not know about, but he was doing something to protect us.
So the sheriff was your boss? Was the jail separate?
Jail is separate from the police station.
Okay.
Yeah, or the sheriff's office.
Okay. Did you know what was going on with the judge?
Yes. Now, that's a reverse question of which part of what was going on.
Did you know, inmates were having sex with the judge?
Yes. Pretty much that's kind of the thing that everybody in the county knows, but it was confirmed to me after working in the jail, especially after being invited to a party myself.
What?
Wow. See, yeah. I think there's a lot of hush-hush stuff happening like this, like similar that people know about East Tennessee, but I think that's probably everywhere, though, really. They've been eating that bologna. What does that mean?
What happened?
I said no thank you. I declined and kind of just went back on to what I was doing. It was just one of those things of, was I just asked that? Like, did that just really...
To a sex party?
Yes.
Who asked you?
It was Mr. Mullins himself.
What did he say?
He had talked about
Mr. Mullins himself. Wow. That's so... It's just so normal there, see?
Little get-togethers and everything. He didn't explain it to me as in a party. It was a get-together of some of the higher-ups. I'm not going to say names for other purposes, but for some of the other higher-ups, and it was just a get-together, them doing like a little like meeting, like a lunch, dinner. Sorry, I keep getting mixed up, but he didn't really get too far into it. But if you're being asked to go to a late night get together with the higher ups, that it's not nothing to do with eating.
Right. At least not food.
So you knew what was going on.
Yes. Other coworkers, and they even, or ex-coworkers, they come out and even ask me now not to mention it. They've even, them participating in the parties themselves. I had another one ask me to go to another one of Mullins' get-togethers, and I declined it again because it's one of those things.
What?
I was raised better than that. You know what I mean? our Southern goals, especially being raised in Southeastern Kentucky, we know better than that. Our mamas raised us better than that. Our grandmamas raised us better than that. Our great grandmothers raised us better than that. But a lot of the cases for a lot of the girls, especially like our girls like Ty or Lexi Bentley or a lot of the other ones, they are forced into doing stuff like this, like that, for either help with cases or it's just a lot. It's a lot to deal with.
And there's other men and stuff too around here that host and do things and film, do their own, make their own movies and stuff too.
That's why I say a lot of them, the higher ups is what I call them. Especially when I'm in a court case right now, I don't want like saying a lot of names because you never know what they could do to us, especially for retaliation. But if you know in the county, everybody knows. They might not speak on it. They might not want to be involved in it because of the fear of retaliation, because there's so many people that has come out and spoke out about what Judge Mullins has done or other crimes that have been participated in just regards of Mullins and Mickey Steins and all this. And they go to speak out and they either end up overdosed when they're clean or you don't hear from them again. And I get that. And for all the people that have spoke up, I'm unbelievably proud of them, especially our girls like Ty. Like, I'm so proud of y'all, especially speaking out. Things like this that happen in small communities and small towns, even if we're afraid to speak up on it, we need to, because is this what we want for our next generation? Is that what we want for our kids? What we're going through, what our past people have gone through, do we want that for them? And no, I don't want that for my daughter. I don't want that for my son. I want better for them. I want an actual community that's not based on if you got money and know people and if you're willing to get on your knees or on your back. It's sickening. And I want better for them. I want better for not just my babies, for Lexi's babies, for Ty's babies, for all of them, my grandchildren one day. I want better for them all.
So the latest on this case is there was just a hearing for the sheriff. He's been in jail ever since the murder of the judge. His attorney is now asking for a $50,000 cash bond, saying that he should be let out, saying that he's not a flight risk. There's been no decision right now on that. He remains behind bars right now. But it seems the information that we're beginning to get on this is just unraveling, again, of what was going on behind the scenes in this county, what may have led up to this very unusual shooting where a sheriff shot a judge. So I'm going to stay on it. I'm still continuing to talk to people. There are a lot of people that I've talked to there who are nervous to go on camera to tell their stories, but are sort of talking to us behind the scenes. So I'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah, I imagine there is a lot of people that are afraid to talk. Let's see which one. Judge. Which one? Let's see. Oh my gosh. I have not seen this. That's crazy. Look at the sheriff. Oh my God. The moment before. Wow. I haven't seen that. That's crazy.
Involving high-level law enforcement demanding sex from inmates. So when we first saw this happen, we all wondered, what could have been going on behind the scenes? Why would the sheriff kill the judge? Well, it's all unraveling now. You've heard audio interviews from
Courthouse.
victims here on the show in the past. They revealed a glimpse into just how dirty and corrupt this county may be. And tonight, you are about to hear from a former inmate and alleged victim of the judge, Judge Mullins, a woman. Her name is Taya Adams, who goes into explicit details about what she says the judge would offer her in exchange for sex. I was in Kentucky, again, just sort of determined to figure out what was going on here to cause this. We went to the town in Kentucky. We met with the women.
It does
This first
happen
one,
a
her
lot
name
of
is
places.
Taya. She says that she had sex with the judge to get out of trouble, and it happened again and again and again and again.
I knew him before because my sister worked for the Commonwealth Attorney for a really long time. Like I grew up in his office and stuff. So whenever he got elected to be Commonwealth Attorney, and we moved over into City Hall, and then Kevin was the assistant that's on that where that camera is.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
How did that?
It was
My gosh, that is crazy. That is so freaking insane. Oh man. That is so crazy. That's like, oh my God. Anyways. All right, guys. I just wanted to watch that. I was going to watch that anyways, and I thought I'd come on and watch it with you guys. Maybe I might look into this some more and see. This is, yeah, definitely interesting story. This is what that's why something needs to happen over there in East Tennessee too, with all the, like, something bad's going to happen. If, I mean, obviously there's already bad stuff happening, but is it going to take something even more crazy like this to happen in Hawkins County before, I don't know. I mean, we'd already got the sheriff's son, who, that was all hush hush, and that, there's no audio in the judge chambers. All right, guys, y'all have a good night. I'm supposed to be on, me and Fred, I think, are going to be over on shares tomorrow. So be sure to be there, guys. There was a judge caught for this in Hawkins County. When I showed this, was showing this to Fred the first time, he's like, he thought that was the judge from Hawkins County. He said it looked like Judge Duggart or whatever. No. He said, no, I thought that was him. But yeah. That's why I brought it. It kind of reminds me of Hawkins County a lot. For some reason. I don't know why. A lot of this is happening in Hawkins County, just too many afraid to speak up. Yep. Yep. And it's like, how do you know which ones are the good ones and which ones are the bad cops? You know, the good ones and the bad ones. And there's good and bad in all professions, though, to be fair. But they're due back in court on Monday next week. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen to the sheriff. I'm curious what they're gonna give him as a sentence. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.